Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 12588 Northwest Waker Drive here in Portland. We're located on the right side of the home. Up here looks like next to a water shutoff and the gas meter. We have a 3-inch ABS cleanout as our point of access. I'm going to insert the camera and check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. As we just went past a Y connection there, it appears that there's actually two separate branches of the line that converge right here. Originally I had the kitchen sink turned on for probably 3 or 4 minutes and I didn't have any water coming through the clean out here until I turned the bathroom sink on right through the wall next to this clean out. So that was the reason why we weren't getting any water flow. It looks like there's two separate branches that come together. It looks like I can see some green here every now and then when I pull the camera back. We're at the transition right here to 3034 PVC pipe. It looks like the joint is offset. My camera just keeps running into this joint here. I'm going to try and put a riser on the camera head to see if it'll get it over the top of that, but that may be as far as we can get there. Now the line's all drained out here. I was trying to get a look at how much offset this was. Here's the hard part, is we've got more than 1 inch of offset here. My camera is actually fitting in between the gap. The issue with getting over the top of this, though, is going to come where we have a lip that's sticking up there. If that was totally flat, my camera might be able to make it over with a riser, but there is about a 1/2 inch lip of PVC pipe just above the camera lens, or at least on the left side of the screen. You can kind of see the green there. This is about 1.5 inches or so offset, and with that lip, the riser piece I have is very doubtful to get it over the top. We'll give it a shot here, but this is probably where we're going to stop. Alright, we just cleared the joint there with the riser on the camera head. We've got the water turned off at this point. We're just going to leave it that way. Unless we really need it to push the camera down the line, we'll just leave it drained out. And it looks like our main lateral is right up ahead here at 78 feet. And that looked like a transition to 4-inch diameter PVC, as best I can tell. It just based on how much the offset there is. I don't see a whole lot of belling out. Looks like 4-inch 3034 PVC pipe. That's the green stuff. We're going to go and reel the camera back in. I'm going to locate at the offset joint there. I do recommend that be corrected. It looks like, for the most part, because this has such a hard downhill slope and everything is moving through as fast as it is, I think that is really what's been carrying everything over the top of that lip. Had this house been like the average home, that lip would be causing serious flow problems. But there's about 1.5 inch lip there for stuff to get hung up on. So I am going to recommend a spot repair to fix that. You also have the possibility that when a joint is that separated, you could have it opened up to the ground to a certain extent. It could actually be letting sewage escape the line, or possibly let water come into the pipe through it. So, and this right now is at my riser which is lifting the camera head almost 1 inch off the flow line, and I'm still hitting about the bottom of my camera lens. So we've got about 1.5 inches of offset, but you can see that we're in 4-inch diameter PVC, or ABS and PVC right here. when you get up right close to this thing, that diameter has been shrunk down to almost probably right around 2 inches, maybe 2.5 inches there. So all those things combined with the standing water and the lip there, you have a possibility for blockages to occur here because of the lip, but you also have the possibility it's open to the ground too. So I do recommend that be corrected. If a repair is not done, I recommend re-scoping in a year to keep an eye on it. Make sure you're not getting any serious debris buildup here that needs to be cleaned out. We located the camera head successfully here underneath the driveway. We are at about 6 feet deep. It's actually bouncing around between 6 foot and 6'2". I have marked that down there on the driveway. I do recommend that be fixed. So if the correction's not done, I recommend re-scoping in a year. Every household has different amounts of people that are in the house at different amounts of time, and volume is a huge factor to do with the amount of debris that will build up. If you only got 1 or 2 people in the house currently and 5 or 6 are moving in, especially if there's kids, just the sheer amount of volume going down the line can cause debris to hang up there. Or makes it much more likely anyway. And you also have the potential to have a joint there that's open to the ground. We're just about back to the clean out here. Aside from the offset joint, at least from this portion of the line, we still have another branch to scope. Aside from the offset, everything else we've just scoped is in great shape and functioning properly. And at this time, because we don't have major debris, the line is functioning, but not functioning properly due to the offset impeding the flow. Now we're going to go ahead and move to the rear of the house. If you're looking right outside the stairwell window, there's a clean out there, the 4-inch one. That's where we're going to move to right now and scope the branch from the left side of the house. Alright, we're over here at the rear clean out. Again, the left side of the house, if you're looking at the house from the front or from the street, all the plumbing from the left side of the home converges and comes out through this one. Pretty much everything on the right side of the house exits out through the clean out we just scoped through. We're going to leave the line dry. You run enough water through this now. We do have a belly here in the line, it looks like. So this is without water running. That water level is almost an inch over the top of the camera head, if not more than that. There's right around 2.5, possibly even 3 inches of standing water in that spot. That's without water running. If you have water running, that pipe there will be completely full. Now that amount of water can hang up a fair amount of debris, especially items that shouldn't go down the line. But typically, where I start to see regular old toilet paper build up is once you have around an inch of water static with nothing running inside, in about a 5-foot section. That's with an inch of water. That's closer to 3 inches there, and it's about that same length. So I am going to recommend a repair to fix that as well. Right here is the Y connection we just scoped through. We're going to reel back here and get the belly mapped out. We're having a lot of rain today, so there's a very good chance my paint markings won't last. But I'll mark it out with white paint like I did out in the driveway area. Got an indent there in the pipe. It's not split open though, it's still intact. Now you can see once you get into this how you start to see junk building up on the sidewalls. This is a spot here where, based on volume, this will be a problem. Especially if you, like I was mentioning earlier, if you have 1, 2 people versus 5 or 6 and kids, this is especially a spot where you get buildup to occur. Alright, I'll show this bush here with the camera in just a second, but the belly is within a fairly large bush, which makes it almost impossible for me to locate it accurately. I've got it roughly located. I've just sprayed some white paint down into the bush, where I'm seeing or at least at that point, but you're going to have to relocate more than likely, or just use caution when digging. It's not a terribly deep line. Right here at the clean out, it's only about a foot, maybe a 1.5 feet deep, so it's not going to be a whole lot different than that. So from here at it starts almost immediately from basically just about the clean out to around 8-9 feet. Let's push back out here real quick. Yeah, about 9 feet is where the water starts to dissipate. Actually, I apologize here. It's actually at about 8 feet. So about a 7-8 foot long belly here. Starts just past the clean out. and extends out to that point. I do recommend this be fixed as well. And a lot of these issues happen at the time of installation, so I would highly recommend a rescope after the repair is done. Make sure it looks good. Alright, I've got this all mapped out here. We're about 1 foot 10 inches deep at this point here. And you basically could just start right at the clean out and start digging your way out. Got about 9 feet or so and get it corrected, 9 to 8. But I would recommend relocating during the repair and make sure you've got it. My final paint marking there at the end of the belly is not accurate because of the dang bush in the way. But here's our clean out, or the start of the belly right here, and it leads, I got some white paint dots, but it goes right into that bush. Sitting pretty close to the house, looks like, but relocate while you're doing it. You're probably going to obviously have to remove that bush in order to get to it. I would just relocate at that time once it's been removed. I recommend a spot repair to correct the belly here from 1 foot to 8 feet, and then a spot repair to correct the offset joint down the driveway, which we've already mentioned.